From the Big Flim Studios in sunny Southern California, it's Big Flim's Pigskin Picks with your host, Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming. Hey folks, this is your host, Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming here, with another edition of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Right now, we're into week 10 of the college football season, and we got some big key matchups coming up today. And also, we're in the last stretch of the college football season where the first college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday. So make sure you check that out, see if your team is in the top 25 of the college football playoff ranking. Because you know the top 4 teams, when it's all said and done, by the end of the month, will be the ones who will be playing in the college football playoffs. So wish your team, whoever your team you're rooting for, wish them the best of luck that they be in the top 4 by the end of the month. So right now, all these games are crucial over the next 3 weeks. So let's get this party started, folks, with my home state team, University of Georgia Bulldogs. They're playing a major key SEC matchup as well as a SEC East Division matchup with our annual world's largest outdoor cocktail party, where we have the number 8 Georgia Bulldogs at 6-1 after a bye week, playing against the number 6 Florida Gators at 7-1. And like I said, this is a major key matchup for the SEC matchup for Georgia, and they have to win it. And Jake Fromm definitely got to air that ball out against that staunch Florida defense, since they got 2 of their key defenders back from injury this week. So definitely Jake Fromm got to air it out, and their wide receivers got to get some space with those Florida safeties and cornerbacks. And also DeAndre Swift got to get that running game going for Georgia, as well as his backup halfback. So I'm going with Georgia in a close one over Florida in this key SEC matchup. All right, let's continue on. Now we're heading to the Big Ten with 14 schools, where we got the number 14 Michigan at 6-2, traveling to College Park to take on Maryland at 3-5. Like I said, Jim Harbaugh is 4-0 against Maryland under his tenure. We might as well make it say 5. We might as well say 5-0. So Michigan's going to beat Maryland in this one. So because they got a key matchup coming up pretty soon with Michigan State around the corner, as well as the big matchup, the Ohio State Buckeyes, aka the Buckaroos. They definitely got to prepare for, because he hasn't beaten the Buckeyes since he's been coach. So that's the biggest game that the Michigan Wolverine fans are really getting on his case about. So, but for today, Michigan's going to beat Maryland. All right, in our next matchup, we go into the ACC, where we got the hot 23 ranked Wake Forest Demon Deacons at 6-1, hosting the 4-3 North Carolina State Wolfpack. Like I said, Wake Forest is going to win this one. It's probably a close game. So I think it's going to be close. So it'll be Wake Forest over NC State. And staying in the ACC, we have Boston College out of Chestnut Hill, suburb of Boston, at 4-4, traveling to the Carrier Dome up there in Syracuse, where they play the 3-5 Syracuse Orangemen. Like I said, both teams have been kind of struggling this season in the ACC. But since Matt Ryan's an alum of Boston College, as well as the legendary Doug Flutie, I'm going to stick with Boston College over Syracuse in this matchup. Now, traveling back to the Big Ten, we have the 4-4 Nebraska Cornhuskers traveling to West Lafayette, Indiana, to take on the struggling 2-6 Purdue Boilermakers. This might be a sleeper game in the Big Ten, so I'm picking Nebraska to squeak by Purdue in this one, folks. All right, our next matchup, we have the Houston Cougars at 3-5 traveling to Orlando to take on the 6-2 UCF, University of Central Florida Golden Knights. And like I said, the Golden Knights are doing pretty good this season. Like I said, Houston's been kind of struggling this year. So with that being said, We're going to go with the UCF Golden Knights in this matchup, folks. All right, we're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back with Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition on Big Flim Radio and TV. Flim Radio wants you to know that approximately every 51 minutes, someone is killed in a drunk driving crash. Buzz driving can also cause huge financial penalties with fines and legal fees. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk. Find out more at nhtsa.org.
Think about all the great things that could happen this holiday weekend. Arthur, you don't mind your dad and I leaving you alone this weekend. That'll be fine. Can we leave you the car and lots of cash? That'll be fine. Hello? Arthur, it's Bambi, the head cheerleader. Hi. Listen, I heard you're all alone this weekend. Can we come over? That'll be fine. Well, there's another great thing happening this holiday weekend. Del Taco is dropping the price of their famous 49-cent full-size tacos to just 29 cents. Just 29 cents for the greatest taco in town. Made fresh to your order with seasoned ground beef, freshly grated cheddar cheese, and crisp lettuce. Just 29 cents at Del Taco. It's gonna be a great weekend. Great weekend. Arthur, what if I invite some friends over? Friends? Or just the girls from our bikini volleyball team? That'll be fine. Monday is the last day you can get famous 49-cent tacos for just 29 cents. Only at participating Del Tacos.
Hi, I'm here today because I'm addicted.
Big Flim Radio and TV.
Get ready. You know.
Now that's an addiction, man.
All right, folks, welcome back to Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition for Week 10 of the college football season here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Now let's get back to our picks, folks. All right, our next matchup, we have the 5-2 Virginia Tech Hokies traveling to South Bend, Indiana to take on the number 16 ranked 5-2 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Excuse me. Last week, Notre Dame kind of stunked it up against Michigan last week. I think it was at Michigan last week they played, and they didn't do too well. So right now, I know Notre Dame wants to rebound and get their momentum back. So I'm picking Notre Dame to be a close one over Virginia Tech. All right, our next matchup, we're heading back to the ACC and the kind of one of the Florida State matchups where we have the 4-4 Miami of Florida Hurricanes, the Canes, aka the Thunderstorm, traveling up to Tallahassee, up in the Panhandle, and Doak Campbell Stadium to take on the 4-4 Florida State Seminoles. Like I say, both teams have mostly struggled this year, and usually Florida State is usually the dominant team. And also, this series hasn't been as exciting as it was over the past previous years, where we had a couple of games where they were, last second field goals, wide left or wide right. I don't know if that's going to happen in this game, but I'm going to give the edge to Florida State over Miami, the Canes, the Thunderstorm in this one, folks, in this Florida State matchup. All right, our next pick next game we're going to pick is the Sunflower State Showdown, where we have the number 22 Kansas State at 5-2 traveling to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the 3-5 Kansas Jayhawks. Like I said, I think it's 115th meeting between those two schools, interstate rivals. And like I say, Les Miles, he had a rough time trying to get this program together since he took over at Kansas. But I'm sticking with the Wildcats at Kansas State to prevail over Kansas in this matchup, folks. Alrighty, staying in the Big 12, we have the 4-3 Texas Christian University, or TCU Horned Frogs, traveling to Stillwater, Oklahoma, to take on the 5-3 Oklahoma State Cowboys. Well, last week, TCU, stunned Texas last week on the road. So I don't know if they're going to repeat that same magic in Stillwater. So I'm going with the Oklahoma State Cowboys in this one over TCU. All right, folks, our next matchup is the Commander-in-Chief Trophy matchup, where we have the struggling 3-5 Army. Hate to say that, folks. That's my branch, and I'm very partial to my Army. They're traveling to Colorado Springs to take on the 6-2 Air Force Academy Falcons, aka the Zoomies. Like I said, Army has lost 4 in a row, and they needed to turn it around, especially when they get in about a month from now when they schedule to play Navy in the famous Army-Navy game. So Army need to get it together and get that passing game and that running game going, and their defense got to step up in this one. So I'm going to think Army's going to snap their 4-game losing streak and beat the Air Force Academy, those Zoomies down there in Colorado Springs. All right, folks, our next matchup, we're heading back to the ACC, where we have the 5-3 Pittsburgh Pitt Panthers traveling to Bobby Dodd Stadium at Grant Field, north of downtown Atlanta, to take on the woefully 2-5 Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, aka the Bumblebees, aka the Broken Down Rex. Like I said, that first year head coach seemed like he's not doing great down there in Atlanta, which is a good thing for me since, of course, I'm a Georgia fan. I'm a Bulldog fan. Ha ha ha. But I think Pittsburgh is going to put a beating on Georgia Tech in this one, folks, at Bobby Dodd Stadium. So for you Tech fans, or you Broken Down Wreck fans, I guess you're going to be disappointed again today. So that's good for you. Ha 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 ha. But in all fairness, Pittsburgh is still going to win. So now, moving right along, folks. We're heading to the Pac-12, a.k.a. the Puke 12, where we got the number 9s, Utah at 71, the Utes, traveling to Husky Stadium in Seattle near Lake Union, which is a nice place, to take on the struggling Washington Huskies at 5-3. Like I say, Jacob Eason, like I say, he has a pretty good arm since he transferred from Georgia and stuff, but I know they've been kind of up and down so far this season. So I'm going to stick with Washington to pull the upset over the Utes there in Seattle. Now heading to the SEC, the best conference in college football by far, we have the struggling 3-5 Mississippi State Bulldogs, aka the Bullpups, because to me there's only one true Bulldog, and that's Georgia. So all you Mississippi State fans, you know what's up. Anyway, they're traveling to Fayetteville to take on the woeful 2-6 Arkansas Razorbacks. Those Sueys really been stuck in the mud this season. Like I say, Arkansas the Razorbacks have been struggling all year, and they seem like they can't get it together there in Fayetteville. So I'm going to take the Mississippi State Bulldogs, aka the Bullpups, over the Razorbacks. All right, heading back to the Pac-12, aka the Puke 12. We have the 3-4 Oregon State Beavers traveling to Tucson out in the desert in southern Arizona to take on the 4-4 Arizona Wildcats. Like I say, Oregon State's kind of struggled a bit this season, as well as Arizona. But I think they're going to find some way to pull out a win down in Tucson over the Wildcats. Now heading back to the Big Ten, we have the woeful 1-6 Northwestern Wildcats traveling to Bloomington, Indiana, the hometown of John Mellencamp, my favorite artist, to take on the improved 6-2 Indiana Hoosiers. And see, like the Hoosiers are doing pretty good there in the Big Ten, and they're already bowl eligible because they already got 6 wins already, which is the threshold needed to be eligible for a college bowl game. So they're going to win another one. They're going to be 7-2 after this evening as they beat up Northwestern, and they're still struggling. All right, heading back to the SEC, we have the 3-5 Ole Miss Mississippi Rebels traveling to Auburn, Alabama, in the Plains to take on the number 11 Auburn Tigers, a.k.a. the War Eagles, a.k.a. the Auburn Kittens. Like I say, I don't think Mississippi State don't have enough firepower to take on Auburn in this matchup, so I'm going to give it to the Auburn Tigers, a.k.a. the Auburn Kittens, over the Ole Miss Rebels, folks. All right, we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back with more of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV.
Hey folks, this is Lorenzo Big Flim Fleming, the host and creator of Big Flim Radio and TV website. As you know, I am a host of 6 podcasts on Big Flim Radio and TV, designed for the general listening audience. Like I said, whenever you get a chance, check it out. Check out the website, check out the online store for Big Flim Radio and TV themed products and little knickknacks and gifts for your friends and your family members. Like I said, you'll find it very interesting. I guarantee it. Like I said, the podcast covers news, music, talk. I wouldn't say news, but mainly talk about today's news and topics, as well as a channel dedicated to my fellow American military veterans, because I am a veteran myself. 21 years qualifying service in the Army and the Army Reserves, which includes 2 combat tours in Iraq and 6 months contingency operation tour in Kuwait. So I dedicate that show to all my fellow veterans and family members of veterans. So if you give a chance, hey, give me a chance. Give a listen. Check out the website at www.bigflimradiotv, that's one word, .com. Again, that's www.bigflimradiotv.com. I'll spell it out for you. It's BIGFLEM as in Mike, RADIO TV. And you can send me a tweet on Twitter with the hashtag FLEM, FLEM_radio. So like I said, give me a shot, give it a listen. And also, if you want to send a request for a song or want to make a comment or criticisms about any of the podcast shows on Big Flim Radio and TV, go ahead. I like to hear from you. Send me a shout out, or if you want me to do a shout out for somebody, or if you want to do a dedication on a certain show, just send it to the email bigflimradiotv@gmail.com. Again, that's bigflimradioandtv@gmail.com, and put whatever particular podcast show in the subject line. For example, one of the shows you listen to right now is Big Flim's Pigskin Picks, NFL edition, as well as college football edition. Also, you can send the subject line. You can use My Prerogative with Lorenzo Fleming, Reflections, Rockin' Into the Night, as well as Lorenzo's Jams. Again, give it a try. Check it out. Listen to it. Tell all your friends and your neighbors and your family members, and even strangers. You won't regret it. It's Big Flim Radio.
TGI Fridays presents an expert on relationships. I'm Dr. Rufus Connor, talking about 3 universal tools when it comes to good relationships. The first is communication. The second is men never pay for everything. Women will use respect for you. And women, there are 2 ways to a man's heart: his stomach and his wallet. Fridays, 2 for 20 time, is perfect for both. You share a mouth-watering appetizer, say spicy buffalo wings. Each have your entree, mingling with shrimp or mushroom, steak and mushrooms, and then finish it all off by sharing a world famous coconut pie, all for only $20. Pick an appetizer, 2 entrees, and a dessert from selected menu items, all for $20. That's 2 for 20 time at participating Fridays. Tax and gratuity not included. Everyone looks forward to Fridays. And remember, never ever go to bed and
TV.
Gnarly, dude. This is Jess Spicoli. When I'm out hanging 10, catching the waves, checking out the chicks, and skipping Mr. Hand's class, I'm listening to Big Flim Radio and TV. Oh. Welcome back, folks. I hope you guys had a great Halloween the other night. Hope your kids or your loved ones, did a little trick-or-treating, got some nice candy, and went to nice Halloween parties and harvest parties and fall festivals. I hope you guys had a great time spending it with your family and your friends and your loved ones. I hope that everybody was safe. Nobody didn't run into any crazy folks. And I hope for the police department that they didn't have any trouble or incidents they have to deal with on Halloween. Like I said, that's not a big thing for me, but I always look out for my fellow man and stuff like that, especially when it comes to things of that nature, like Halloween and all those good holidays. So right now we're getting to wrap up the last 2 months of 2019. Of course, we got Thanksgiving coming up in about 3.5 weeks, as well as Christmas in about a month and a half. So, all right, folks, we're starting to get ready with these fall-like weather. and also start getting into the heart of the football season and all that good stuff. So let's get back to our picks, folks. All right, heading back to the ACC, we have the 5-3 Virginia Cavaliers traveling to Wallace Stadium, excuse me, in Chapel Hill to take on North Carolina, the Tar Heels at 4-4. Like I said, both teams have kind of been up and down this year on the offense as well as their defense. But I'm going to lean towards Virginia in a close one over North Carolina. And I know those guys are getting ready for their ACC matchup in college basketball, because college basketball season is about to kick off pretty soon, about a week and a half or so. And then those two schools will really be duking it out in the ACC in college basketball. But more to follow on that. So let's continue on, folks. Now we're heading back to the SEC, where we have the woeful 2-5 Vanderbilt Commodores traveling to Columbia at William Brice Stadium to take on the struggling 3-5 South Carolina Gamecocks, aka the Game Chickens, the team that beat Georgia a couple of weeks ago. So both teams are really struggling in this one. And like I said, Derek Mason, I know he's definitely on the hot seat there in Nashville. And I know Will Muschamp, he's trying to get it together there in Columbia. So, but I had to give it to the South Carolina Gamecocks to rally over the Commodores in this one, folks. The Game Chickens, of course, a.k.a. the Gamecocks. All right. One of our big matchups in the American Conference, where we have the number 15 ranked SMU, Southern Methodist University Mustangs, who are undefeated at 8-0, traveling to the home of blues and the home of Elvis Presley, Memphis, to take on the number 24th ranked Memphis Tigers at 7-1. Like I said, this is the best season for SMU since the mid-'80s, before they got into some trouble and their football program was put on the death penalty by the NCAA for several years, and then they had to really build their program back from scratch from all that illegal activity they did that caused them to get on the death penalty. I remember that when I was in high school, and early adulthood, in the mid-'80s when that happened. So, with that being said, I'm going to stick with SMU on this one, a close one over Memphis. Now heading to the Pac-12, aka the Puke 12, we got the number 7th ranked Oregon Ducks traveling to the Coliseum in LA to take on the 5-3 USC Trojans. Like I said, USC just recently hired a new athletic director to succeed Lynn Swann, someone who has some experience as an athletic director, and hopefully they can right the ship there in USC, especially with the ongoing academic scandal, admission scandals going on right now. And also Clay Helton, he's still kind of on the hot seat there. So right now they're trying to play for his job there, the players there, the Trojans. So, but I don't think Oregon's going to make it easier for them tonight. So I'm going with the Oregon Ducks over USC. And also, by the way, Oregon is leading in the Pac-12 North Division, while USC is top of the Pac-12 South Division. So this is a key matchup here for both teams, as well as get into the Pac-12 championship. All right, staying in the Pac-12, we have two struggling teams. We got the 3-5 Colorado Buffaloes traveling to the Rose Bowl up in Pasadena to take on the woeful 3-5 UCLA Bruins, aka the Honey Bears. Seems like both teams will struggle this year. And Chip Kelly, he's really getting it rough there, especially the way they started. So I don't think it's not going to get any better. So I'm going to root for the Colorado Buffaloes to beat up on the UCLA Bruins tonight there in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. So I know there's going to be a lot of traffic there near Colorado Boulevard in that area there. So have fun, guys. All right, we stay in the Pac-12, where we have, well, actually not the Pac-12, but we go into the state of Utah, where we have the 3-4 BYU, Brigham Young University, the Cougars, traveling to Logan, Utah to take on Utah State at 4-3. Both teams kind of struggle also as well, but I'm going to lean towards Utah State in a close one over BYU. Now heading to the WAC conference, We have the 2-6 New Mexico Lobos. They're really struggling this year, traveling to Reno to take on the 4-4 University of Nevada Reno Wolfpack. Like I said, I got some frat brothers there that live in that area as well. It's a nice campus. I've been there, but was it 2.5 years ago. It's a pretty nice campus. So I'm going to go with the Nevada Wolfpack over the New Mexico Lobos on that one, folks. Now, staying in the WAC, or Mountain West, we have the number 21 ranked Boise State, the Broncos, at 6-1 with that nice little blue field they got there, traveling to San Jose on the southern tip of the Bay Area in Silicon Valley to take on the 4-4 San Jose State. San Jose State, the Aztecs. Is it the Aztecs? I think so. Anyway, Boise State's doing pretty good this year, so I'm going to stick with Boise State to prevail over San Jose State. And our last matchup for today is a WAC matchup where we got the 3-4 Fresno State Bulldogs hopping the plane to go across the pond in the Pacific, of course, to Honolulu to take on the 5-3 Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Tonight, both teams kind of struggled so far this year. But I'm going to stick with the home team. I'm going to root for Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors, to defeat the Fresno State Bulldogs. All right. So far, we covered all the games, the major games that we want to pick for. So we're going to go ahead and look at the teams that are taking a day off this weekend. Of course, number 2 ranked Alabama, they're off. Roll Tide, they're 8-0. And they're getting ready for their matchup against LSU and also the Iron Bowl later on in the month against Auburn. Then you got Arizona State, 5-3. You got Cal Bears, 4-4. Duke, 4-4. Georgia State Panthers, 6-2. Iowa, number 19 at 6-2. They got to get ready for their matchup against Iowa State. And speaking of Iowa State, they're also off this week. So. Then you got Kentucky at 4-4 in the SEC. And speaking of LSU, the number one ranked LSU Tigers, they're 8-0. They're off today. Louisville's off today at 5-3. Michigan State, the Spartans, they really struggled this year from the Big Ten at 4-4. They're off today. And also number 13th ranked Minnesota Golden Gophers, they're 8-0. They're doing pretty good this year. And you got the Mizzou Tigers from the SEC, they're off today at 5-3. And then you got Ohio State, the Buckeyes, the Buckaroos, they're off today at 3-0, at number 3, ranked number 3, and they're 8-0. So they're getting ready for their big matchup against Michigan. And then you got the number 10 Oklahoma Sooners at 7-1, they're off today. And then you got the Penn State Nittany Lions at number 5, they're 8-0. I think they're going to have that big major matchup between Penn State and Ohio State coming up as well. So then you got San Diego State at number 25. They're off today at 7-1. South Florida at 4-4. They're off today. Stanford's off today at 4-4. Texas is 5-3. They're off today after losing to TCU last week. And the Red Raiders of Lubbock, the Texas Tech, they're 3-5. They're off today. The Washington State Cougars are off today for the Pac-12 at 4-4. And then Wisconsin, the Badgers, number 18 at 6-2. They're off today. So you got a bunch of key teams are off on their bye week today, getting ready for their big major matchups over the next couple of weeks. So without further ado, we're going to do a quick recap of all our picks for Big Flim's Pigskin Picks, College Football Edition, here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Like I said, we start off with our big SEC matchup down in Jacksonville, where we have the number 8 Georgia at 6-1 will beat number 6 ranked Florida. We have Michigan over Maryland, Wake Forest over NC State, Boston College over Syracuse, Nebraska over Purdue, UCF, University of Central Florida over Houston, Notre Dame over Virginia Tech, Florida State over Miami, the Canes, the U. You got Kansas State over the Jayhawks, the Kansas Jayhawks that is, Oklahoma State over TCU, Army over the Air Force in the Commander-in-Chief's game, Pittsburgh over Georgia Tech, the Broken Down Rex. Washington over Utah, Mississippi State over Arkansas, Oregon State over Arizona, Indiana over Northwestern, Auburn over Mississippi, Virginia over North Carolina, South Carolina over Vanderbilt, SMU over Memphis, Oregon over USC, Colorado over UCLA, or Utah State over BYU, Nevada over New Mexico, Boise State over San Jose State, and Hawaii over Fresno State. All right, folks, that does it. Those are our picks for Week 10 of the college football season on Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. If you want to be a guest picker or guest prognosticator, shoot us an email at bigflimradiotv@gmail.com. Again, that's bigflimradiotv, that's one word, @gmail.com. And put in the subject line, Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition. And also send us your audio clip or send us a written prediction of who you pick and stuff like that. If you prefer to send us a tweet on Twitter, you can do that also as well. Like I say, you can do that at the hashtag #Flim_radio. That's Flim, FLEM as in Mike, _radio, RADIO. Also, we have a Facebook group page as well as a Facebook page as well under Big Flim Radio TV. So check it out, folks. And also check out the website. Like I said, you can find this podcast as well as the NFL edition of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks. Also check that out too for Week 9 of the NFL season. It should already be out right now, so like I said, check it out. And also there are 5 other podcast shows that feature music, talk, and veterans issues. Well, and also definitely check out our online store, especially right now. We're in the last 2 months of 2019 and the Christmas holiday and Thanksgiving holidays upon us. Like I say, if you're looking for that nice gift to give to your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, your battle buddies, stranger, an alien from Mars, hey, there's some nice Big Flim Radio and TV themed memorabilia, souvenirs, merchandise, so on and so forth. So check out the online store at www.bigflimradiotv.com. Again, that's www.bigflimradiotv.com. Until then, folks, see you next week with another edition of Big Flim's Pigskin Picks College Football Edition here on Big Flim Radio and TV. Big Flim's Pigskin Picks is a production of Black Rebel Productions in association with Flim Media. The opening theme for the podcast is a property of CBS Sports as well as the NCAA. And Big Flim Radio and TV do not own the rights to the music clip, nor do they profit from it. Who are you? We're Big Flim Radio and TV.